Good afternoon. Thanks for you participating in the crop conversation. First, I would like to introduce the distinguished guests. Mr. Alhaji, the acting president of Natural Cassava Processor and Market Association of Nigeria. Welcome. Professor Andrew, the director of National Resource Institute, University of Greenwich. Welcome. Okay. Mr. Jonathan. Sorry. Mr. Jonathan is the Agriculture and Rural Development Economist, International Center for Tropical Agriculture. Welcome. Mr. Brad, from the ingredient, is the very famous the grain processor in the world, most famous one. Okay. Okay, today the topic is about the adding value for the roots and tuber crops, the processing and the value chains. When we talk about the value, always related with the fortune. Unfortunately, the cassava, the tubes crops always related with the poor. So still with the poor hat. So how can we find a solution? Try to throw the poor hat away, becomes rich. So we try to find the solution. I hope the guests, you can get some solution to everybody. Is it possible to throw the poor hat away? So the last question goes to Mr. Brad, the scientist from ingredient. What's the role of private sector in these markets?
Right. Yeah. I think the business role for root and tuber crops are really to expand markets, to build infrastructure, and to encourage and support innovation. As pointed out, you've got roots which are perishable and heavy. You need to locate your milling facilities locally, but they also have to be able to transport those processed goods to the larger markets. So for like cassava, there's a lot of facilities already in place, but the industry needs to be involved with developing other things like some of these sweet potato or yam type products, and that involves building infrastructure. And infrastructure is bricks and mortar, but also technological infrastructure. You've got managerial infrastructure, safety, sustainability, and quality control. These are all things that need to be put in place. You think about the cassava example with roots, or with your seed stocks. You want to have good quality seed stock, and that's the starting point. That's where you can start to put your other infrastructure in place, because you've got an even playing field. You can start to build your agronomic support, your pesticide, fertility requirements, your crop management, and your harvest protocols, and then put in place the other quality control measures to make sure that the plant is receiving the types of materials that they require, and able to reward the growers for providing that material. And then finally, the supporting innovation. There isn't there isn't publicly available. I mean, there isn't large-scale seed production in cassava. It's all come from the private sector, and business has a role in supporting that and acknowledging that, because it's been really fantastic here this week to see cassava yields outpacing even corn over the last 10, 20 years. Just phenomenal improvements, and not only in yield but in disease. If you don't have disease resistance, that's going to prevent you from producing in areas where disease is prevalent. So you need that kind of innovative research to make materials available to provide a consistent product for milling. And this and also, I mean, just I think the new waxy cassava that's come from TTDI and CIAT is really interesting. It's a new base starch. This is something that's opening up a lot of new revenue streams for industry. It's very exciting. New food applications, improving food. It's allowing a reduction of chemicals, modifications in starch. It's opening up new modifications for like temperature and pressure to get that functionality that would otherwise require chemical modifications. And it's providing a mechanism for farmers because it's a specialty, and that is rewarded by a premium system to produce and reward those growers for providing that type of high quality materials to business. So yeah, I think the roles then is improving or expanding markets, feeding the infrastructure, and rewarding innovation.
Thank you. Everybody knows that the ingredient is one of the largest player of crops and the green crops and the tuber crops processors in the world. So one of additional question is, could you introduce something about how your ingredient participate in the tube crops processing in the world?
Participate
tube crops.
In row crops?
Yeah. Tuber crops.
Oh, yeah, it's so Ingredient has milling processes in Colombia and Brazil and Thailand.
Colombia, Brazil. Okay.
Yep, and we process, we mill cassava root, and we also have modifications in Thailand and Bangkok as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sure.